Welcome to our Level 1 Certificate in Christian Ministry. This is segment 2 of the first unit of the first class. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the covenant narrative of the Bible. In the last segment, we spoke about how to approach the Bible. Is it a rule book or a set of instructions? Today, hopefully, it becomes clearer that the Bible is really a covenant narrative. Now, you might be wondering, what is covenant? Maybe you've heard this term before, maybe you haven't. Covenant, simply put, is relational partnership. Now, we don't exactly have something similar to covenant in our day and age. Covenant, I think the best terminology for us today is connection. However, it's connection with obligation, which is really part of a healthy relationship. Now, let's turn to Genesis 1 verse 27. The Bible says, "So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them. Male and female He created them. God blessed them and said to them, 'Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground.'" Now, even though the word covenant doesn't appear here, hopefully you could see the connection to be God's image bearers and then the obligation. We're watching this on YouTube. So are you familiar with YouTube channels, YouTube content? God is the original YouTube creator. He creates channel, which is all of creation, and He creates content, including humanity. But in Genesis 3, you find that humanity does not want to be God's content. Instead, humanity wants to create our own YouTube channels and our own YouTube content. And that's what sin is, and that leads to terrible consequences, cosmic consequences. You can read about it in Genesis chapter 3. And Genesis 3 can be described as rebellion, disconnection, covenant violation, unfaithfulness. But the story doesn't end in Genesis chapter 3. The narrative of the Bible is God continually pursuing humanity in order to be in covenant relationship. So Genesis 12 verse 1, the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all people on earth will be blessed through you." If you read Genesis 17, you see the expansion of this promise, and God makes covenant with Abraham that through him will come a people through whom all nations will be blessed. We'll see this more in Old Testament surveying. But what we find is God's people are failing to keep God's covenant, just like rest of humanity. Now fast forward to Jesus. In Matthew 26 verse 27, He took a cup, and when He had given thanks, He gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." Jesus does for humanity what we fail to do, which is keep God's covenant and also take up the punishment for our covenant failure on Himself. And by His blood opens an access for us to return to covenant relationship with God. So that's the covenant narrative of the Bible. Again, within the covenant narrative, are there rules to follow? Absolutely. They are the covenant expectations. And the covenant requires us to obey those covenant expectations. Are they instructions? Absolutely. But notice that it's framed within covenant, within relationship. Here's some reflection questions. How would you describe the concept of covenant? How do you experience God's covenant loyalty? How do you respond to God's covenant? And share with a friend God's covenant invitation. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Till then, God bless you, and thank you for watching.